Thank you for staying on. It's still TMI, kidnapping epidemic, and tackling the rising trend is still what we are about. And while before we had a break, we had an author and public affairs analyst in the person of Frank Ayosun taking the nitty-gritty about how to tackle this or the failure of government in that aspect. So let's join you from where we cut in before the break. Frank.
I think we're trying to put forth a narrative on the history of policing, kind of direction to the discourse we have presently. Now, I made mention of the fact that it dates back to 1861. Then they were called the Consular Constabulary, with 30 men, and afterwards they now went to get another 70 from up north. The initial ones were from the Lagos axis, Ekpe axis specifically. And there's something about policing that I must emphasize here, which is like taking off from their roots, from when they were set up from the time of our colonial masters. The fact that Nigeria, by their history and origin, were not set up as the people's friend. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have changed so much, even in this dispensation, after many years of practice of democracy and independence. In UK, in US, in most countries, even in Africa here, you see policing force that when you trace them back to their foundation, they were set up as the people's friends, where the people are involved to ensure security for all and sundry. Now, that is a challenge that unfortunately they've not addressed. I said just now that it was Agni Rossi that set up a panel because he was one that ensured the unification of system, where the native policing system was now harmonized with the Nigerian police as was set up in 1930. On and on afterwards, all the visions that have come forth, rather than address policing to ensure that the police is about the people, their priority is ensuring that police is about security of regime. The security has gotten this bad today because those who we hold on to, who we look up to as government, they have taken the position or the place of spoiled child because they think sovereignty belongs to them, not knowing that the Constitution has clearly stated it belongs to the people. Now, see where I talked about impunity and corruption being the of the culture of insecurity. For example, kidnapping, terrorism as we see today dates back to before independence on very miniature level. The first man by the records who was held to account is Mohammed Mawa, originally a Nigerian, preaching the gospel of against the government. And what was the reason for his gospel? It was corruption that was used to win followers. In 1962, it became a republic. The government then of Nigeria, under Her Majesty the Queen, sent him to Cameroon, where he's from. Funny enough, his village, where he's from in Cameroon, is called Mawa. He came back after some years, after Nigeria became a republic in 1963, and kept on with his gospel. Well, didn't change. In 1980, when there was an onslaught in Kano, 1,700 people died in one day. The guy was killed too that day by the Nigerian police and the onslaught. That was more than 40 years ago. Corruption is the culture that gave birth to Mohammed Yusuf, Boko Haram. What was his gospel? How did he win followers?
Okay.
He was telling people that these people are corrupt, they are stealing your resources, they are doing what not.
Frank, I understand that we have been on this road. We have been on this road. You articulated your point about the impunity of corruption and of course the leadership failure in that regard. But I think let's ask our security expert now. You've been following the trend of what has been taking place. There has been this huge cry that we do not have a true federalism in Nigeria. A situation where the subnational governments have reduced powers, or the powers that they are supposed to get are now domiciled in the center, which they say is a hindrance in them tackling crime. Having state policing has been the outcry. But how do we navigate a change in this? Because we can't but look at the vigilante network, for instance, community policing, state policing. Now, do you see this as sacrosanct? Even as the FCT minister is even talking about the aspect of the vigilante. Do you see that as sacrosanct, or are they singing a different song entirely from what they should?
I think the government for the day, sincerely speaking, is a reactive system they are operating, not proactive. want things to happen first before they take measures. People will die first before they begin to come up with things. Must we wait for people to die before systems and structures are put in place in the area of security? Because that is the government of the day. That's what we have. We mustn't wait for people to die. There must be system and structure. We must be very proactive. How long shall we be talking about state police, community police, and the vigilante? This thing has been there right from the beginning, that it is high time for the power to be disintegrated. We need to shift power from the top, so that, because security is a localized issue. Security itself is a localized. If it's not handled locally, you miss the whole thing. A system where the police is controlled by the federal government. Even the state does not even have power to control the police. It's funny. What is happening presently is calling for state police and community police, because insecurity is a grassroots issue. It's a community issue. It starts from the beginning. That is why the government must look at it very, very serious to institute state police and community police. Even the vigilante, thank God now the vigilantes are coming up in the place of assisting the police. They can never be the police, but their own is to synergize to make sure that security issue come to a bare minimum. It's very, very important. I want to talk about the area of proliferation of our borders. Our borders are porous. We should check the borders very well. The way people are coming to this country is alarming, very, very alarming. There are a lot of people living in Nigeria who are not Nigerians. Let's call a spade a spade. They are not Nigerians. They are coming in their drone every day. What are they doing here? They are causing insecurity everywhere. Yes, we should check them very well. We talk about insecurity, we talk about kidnapping. Who are these people kidnapping? Who are these people that are doing this job? We know there are natives and there are also foreigners.
Okay. All right.
These are the things we must look at very well.
All right. We're going to be taking a quick break, after which we will be doing the closing on this segment. Don't you go away.